You know what else we're gonna see in 2023? And we
Oh, what is
probably
that?
should have seen in 2021.
Oh, don't get me started.
Cyberpunk 2077. First expansion is now set to
Yep.
come in 2023. I don't know. I could say I'm a little upset, but anyways, this article comes from The Verge. Um, it says in the subheader of the article, "Patience is a virtue." It certainly is, I guess. Now that Cyberpunk 2077 is in somewhat more stable position, developer CD Projekt Red is talking about the future, including the game's first expansion. Today, the studio revealed, this was in fact today, the 14th this article came out, studio revealed that the previously announced expansion of the game will be launching in 2023. Unfortunately, this is all we know. There's no information on what to expect from the first major content update for the game. CD Projekt Red says to expect more details later this year. This is, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm very excited. I think it's great. I think something like this is something I've been waiting for Cyberpunk. I know whenever like the game was announced, they were talking about DLC and everything. I think the original plan, and even you could even go online and still find some of the original roadmaps, but they were stating that, when the game launched, within, I want to say it was like by April or May, they were, I think, because the game launched, they said they had two major patches, right? They were going to launch
Yeah.
they were going to drop those two major patches, get that sorted, and then they were going to start focusing on the first DLC. I don't know if they were focusing on development then, or if they were going to try and release by second half of the year of 2021. That of course didn't happen. They put out patches. They still continue to put out patches,
Yeah.
and now I guess the game is in such a poor state that they had to essentially like double back, fix the game, and then now here we are. Like they're probably starting to work on the first DLC now. It is what it is, you know. I think the game was. I still enjoyed the game. I thought it was fun, even with the bugs and everything. And I'm definitely going to be jumping back in when the DLC comes out. Like, there's no doubt. I'm definitely going to check it out. So, I don't know. I just wish I could have got back into the game last year and like experience that
It,
world again, because that was something I looked forward to so much. Because like I really love the world, so it's like just jumping back into that is
it's
like
so cool.
it's such a cool world. I mean, and Mike, you got to experience this game the fresh set of eyes the past couple of weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the game, man?
Okay, so right off the top, something that I want to bring note of that we've talked about Cyberpunk 2077 before, on this podcast a couple episodes back, and I forgot to mention this. My buddy got the game on Xbox Series X, and he said it was slightly buggy, but it wasn't that bad. I had another one of my friends play it on the Xbox One, and he said it was really buggy, but he like had to force himself through it. But the people that were on like PlayStation and PC, in particular, they said it was basically borderline unplayable, right? So the guys on Xbox have already gone through and they've beaten the game. I know you beaten the game too, and they're they're as frustrated as you are. But for me personally, with me just like I literally bought the game on release, heard how bad the game was, and then I was just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna ask for a refund because I trust the developer to fix this. Big risk, I know, but I was like, I was just like, I don't care, I don't want to look. Didn't touch it until a couple of weeks back. I'm loving it, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm genuinely having a great time, and for a long time, I was just like, this is just the game I'm going to be playing for the next month. So, um, with this, with so for me, with hearing that they're going to be coming out with some DLC, it's like that's my experience. Like I just got the game on release kind of thing. I'm like a week into the game, like the new game experience. I'm not like frustrated at all. I'm not experiencing any serious bugs. And now with the DLC coming out next year, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Like your reaction to my reaction was completely different. You're like,
Wow.
right before we started recording, you're like, yeah, and they're just next year coming out. I'm like, yeah, that's not too long. But for you, you're like, it's been 3 years.
It's literally, where's that meme, dude? It's been 3 years. Been 87 years. Um, dude, yeah. I'm looking forward to it, but it's been a long time coming. And I mean, look, I'm glad they're at a point now where they feel comfortable to start working on the DLC. Like
Yeah.
it definitely could have been way worse, especially with the state that game was in. Um, and a year, a year and some change later makes sense with the state that it
Mhm.
launched in. They definitely did the right thing of not saying like, oh, we're just gonna put out DLC now, and then like it's
Yeah.
like April 2021 and the game's still in shambles. Um, so they're definitely handling it right. So I can't be too harsh on them. But
Yeah, they've owned their mistakes, I think,
yeah,
and
for
they're
sure,
correcting it. So,
for sure.
um, the other cool thing that some people might have forgotten, but we mentioned Unreal Engine 5 last episode,
Yeah.
and the next Witcher game is going to be based on that, who's CD Projekt Red. So their studio is going to have their hands full, man.
Oh yeah, for
Working on The
sure.
Witcher on a new engine and also Cyberpunk trying to create new content.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they're spending time on Unreal Engine 5. I'd like to think there's certainly a lot of new stuff with that engine. I mean, it's been how long since like Unreal 4 came out? Like a long time. Like
yeah,
there's definitely gonna be a lot of changes between the engines. But I also like to think there's gonna be a certain aspect of kind of relatability with a lot of the previous like practices, and going forward
yeah,
it's gonna use a lot of the same like kind of ideals. So, when they go into Unreal 5, it's gonna be like, here's kind of what you had, but we added some stuff to make, textures look better, and everything just perform
things.
better.
Yeah,
So it's
more
definitely,
convenient features. I hope.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
exactly. They probably, I mean, since they spend so long between each version of this engine, there's sure they've tested it, worked out every single like imaginable thing that could go wrong. So
Yep.
but yeah, I mean, it makes me excited. It certainly makes me excited for the next Witcher, because I think any game that's gonna be coming out on Unreal 5 is gonna be absolutely the next level. And we even have a game we're gonna discuss here in a little bit that the developer confirmed they're actually working on Unreal Engine 5. They went back, made the game, but they're gonna like double back and make sure it's crazy. So they really like I think a lot of devs really want to take advantage of the new technology, and I definitely don't blame them, because it'll certainly help the game, especially as we get further into this life cycle of consoles. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I think like Cyberpunk. I think they certainly CD Projekt Red will have a lot on their hands. I think with Cyberpunk, yeah, they'll probably have a small team working on DLC and stuff still. A small team. That's a huge company, so
Yeah.
I use that word lightly, but
Small team of 100 people.
probably, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, they'll have that team there, and then I'm sure most of that studio is just focusing on Witcher at this point, especially after how Cyberpunk
Oh
launched.
yeah.
They're just like, whatever, we got most of the bugs hashed out. Let's start focusing on the next thing, and then we'll just let B team over here take care of the DLC, that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
they've
So
they've had like 4 or 5 major updates.
yeah,
I remember one was like 10 gigabytes a
yeah,
couple of months back,
oh yeah,
maybe last year. I saw it and I was just like, "Oh, does this mean it's good?" So I do like Cyberpunk 2077 status. And then people are still complaining that they're bugs and I was like, "We got to wait."
yeah,
and
yeah,
and sure enough, then there was like another 15 gigabyte update and everybody's like, "It's finally fixed."
yeah.
Or playable. Playable was the
Yeah.
word.
Sony
So
trusted enough to put it back on the store, so
yeah.
that says something.
Yeah.
It's definitely in a way better state. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Yep.
excited for the future of it. I'm also, hearing about the new Witcher makes me really need and want to go back and play Witcher 3. Like, it's just one of those games I feel like, even though I'm not like huge on fantasy, I still feel like there's got to be something in it for everyone. If there's so many people with Steam reviews that have like 10,000 plus hours on a single player title, like it's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, and and the TV series too. Don't forget that.
Oh yeah, yeah, I heard it's really good.
Yeah, it is. It's awesome. So you haven't watched it?
I've not watched it. I just saw like trailers and stuff. Saw Henry Cavill. Everyone going
Do you
nuts
know
about him.
anything about the story of The Witcher?
I not really like bits and pieces. I
You're
actually
missing out.
I have Witcher 1 and 2 installed on my PC. I wanted to originally go back and play through like the first Witcher and the second, and build my way up to 3. Still need to
Yeah,
do it, you know.
they're really good. The story is it's demanding. I think like of your time.
Yeah.
It's worth it. But if you're feeling lazy, like if you don't have time, just YouTube it.
Yeah.
YouTube the 30-45 minute like the story of The Witcher. And then they'll
Yeah.
go into everything and
It's probably
explain it for you and
yeah.
they get your butt on the TV series. It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah. Have to check it out.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Um Yeah, Witcher 3 is definitely on the list. I'm gonna play it. I think like with Witcher, like with the new Witcher that comes out too, I want to play it just for Unreal 5 alone because my hype for that engine's gonna be
Oh
so
yeah.
insane. I'm just gonna be like, I gotta see the seven. I don't even know when it takes place. When is that? Like, I gotta see the 1200s and in stunning quality. But
It's like high fantasy stuff.
yeah,
So it's like the timeline's kind of irrelevant.
yeah, I guess
It's
so.
just think medieval era.
Yeah, yeah, and those kind of games I always like steer clear of. But I don't know. I feel like this is the one exception where it's worth. So I'll check it
Mhm.
out, man. It's on the list, that's for sure. It's always the next DLC of Cyberpunk. It's also on the list, all right? I'm a little upset,
Yes,
but
sir.
I'll let it slide. This is
I
what it
mean,
is.
that's fine. I'll tell you all about it and all the fun I'm having.